Hey everyone, welcome to the Uncanny J-Men. I am JADe, and I don't know about you, but I am so excited that Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is now streaming on Disney+. Feels like it's been a long time since it's been out in theaters, and I'm so excited to be able to watch it over and over and over and over and over and over again. But today I want to talk about something that has to do with Multiverse of Madness, also has to do with Ms.Marvel in some ways. So, Iman Vellani, the actress who plays Ms.Marvel in the Ms.Marvel Disney Plus series, has been kind of making headlines about her butting heads with Papa Kevin Feige about what universe number the main MCU movies take place in.
No, I'd like to say that's 616. I don't believe that the MCU is 616. As much as Kevin Feige can make us think that it's 616, it is 199999.
Because if you remember from Multiverse of Madness, they stated it as the Earth 616. However, earlier in the comics, before they even established a multiverse in the movies, the comics referred to a movie universe as Earth 1. Now let me make sure I get this right. 199999. Maybe there's another 9? 5 nines. There's 1, then 5 nines afterwards. So what's the deal? Is it 616? Is it 199999? What multiverse is it? So just going over exactly what's been said in the movies, just to get some context here. The first time, well, I won't say first, but one of the main times we first see someone referred to the multiverses is Mysterio, or Quentin Beck, in Spider-Man Far From Home. In that movie, he makes a statement saying that this is Earth 616, and he comes from a different universe in the multiverse.
There are multiple realities, Peter. This is Earth, Dimension 616. I'm from Earth 833.
I'm sorry, you're saying there's a multiverse? Because I thought that was just theoretical.
So he establishes that this is 616, but we know from those movies that he's not a scientist, and he's not what he said he was. He's actually just an actor with a whole bunch of scientists behind him. So where does 616 come from? And later on, in Multiverse of Madness, we are now jumping between the multiverse. We have Doctor Strange and America Chavez punching holes and traveling across the multiverse. We have Scarlet Witch inhabiting other Scarlet Witches across the multiverse. And we finally meet the Illuminati, and they state that they come from Earth 616. That is the main MCU universe where our Doctor Strange is from.
Our universe is 838, and we've designated yours 616.
Oh, you guys sure must know a lot about the multiverse. You got someone going around naming realities.
Yes. Me.
So Quentin Beck says it. The Illuminati says it. But how could Quentin Beck have known if he's just an actor? Well, it turns out I've got some answers on that. People don't want to talk about this movie a whole lot, but in Thor Dark World, we have a very, very smart person, Dr. Eric Selvig, who kind of seems like he's an expert in a lot of things, but he's also an expert in like metaphysics, and at some point during the movie, we actually see him write on his board, or it's already written on his board, Universe 616. So he may have already been investigating that there is a multiverse out there, and that he also came to the conclusion that it is 616. So because that predates Spider-Man Far From Home, it's very possible that Eric Selvig does publish some papers about the multiverse at some point, or we know he shows up as a crazy person online a lot, through YouTube videos and things like that. So maybe those who were building Quentin Beck's background story for Mysterio saw that, thought multiverse, that's a great backstory. Something like that seems out of science fiction books. And what we've been seeing with aliens and things like that, like, it's not unbelievable, we could probably pass this off. So Dr. Eric Selvig first wrote it, maybe wrote some papers online, and then the team behind Mysterio were the ones who actually used that to build the Mysterio person, the persona of this hero who's popped out of nowhere to fight for them. Now we have to ask the question, why does Eric Selvig say it's 616 and the Illuminati says it's 616? But they've never talked to each other. How do they come up with this classification? Where do these numbers even come from? So that it makes it seem like there is some order to the multiverse, and that we can chronologically number each universe based on some set standard, whether it's since this origin point of multiverses, they all stem from that, and in order for these ones to exist, these other 615 had to have existed, or that they just were, or that was how they were discovered. There's something that requires them to be in that order in order for two different scientist groups to come up with the same number and it not just be random. I mean, the chances that you come up with any number, especially when you're referring to your own universe, typically when you're the person who discovers, you want to name it, we are Earth 1, universe number 1. Every other universe after us is the ones that we discover. But that's not the case. Eric Selvig puts us as 616. The Illuminati puts us as 616. So somehow there is an order to the universes that lets them both come up with that exact same number. And let's rewind. Originally I said, is this 616? Or is it 1999999? The MCU was partially established in the comic books as Earth 19999. There was following, I think, Iron Man 1, there was a comics that took place in the Iron Man universe from the MCU, and it had people calling it Earth 19999. So how can the comics, which are canon, their own canon, the comics are all canon to each other, how can that label it one way, and then Eric Selvig and the Illuminati label it another way? And not only that, but the main Earth designation in the comic books for the main storyline is 616. And in the movies, the main universe storyline is in 616 also. And that can't be the case. So now we have to ask the question, if neither of them, or if one of them is 616, can both be 616, or if one already designated it differently to that 19999, why did it now change to 616, or why do the people in universe call it 616? Now you could just say it's just a random thing they decided to do, it means nothing. I disagree. I really don't think that a majority of things, especially something this big, can be them just saying, go with it, it's the same universe, or we're doing our own thing, it doesn't matter. It does matter. And they're very personal, and they were very clearly saying this. Maybe in Mysterio it was just an Easter egg, them saying, you're from 616 because the comic books are 616 and it's fun to say that. But in Multiverse of Madness, they are very clear that they're setting up this universe, the main MCU timeline and universe, as 616. So, let's explain. We have timelines, as we've seen with Loki, where one universe can split off into many timelines. Those are all one universe. We have dimensions, which are like parallel planes within the same universe, and sometimes trans-universal dimensions. And then we also have a multiverse. But why does it stop there? Could there be an omniverse, or a meta-multiverse, or a multi-multiverse, of essentially a bunch of multiverses stacked on top of each other that are all different from each other? It hasn't been set up that way, and there's nothing to say from the comics or the movies that this does exist. But it would explain why both universes call themselves 616. And I'll take it a step further. Not only do they both call each other 616, but if there is a omniverse or multiverse, multiple multiverses, then they would also not only see differences between universes, as we see, like, let's say they're both 616. It all takes place on the same universe. Obviously, it's different because what's been happening in the comic books for Iron Man's not happening in the movies. Now, let's say that there is a multiverse, and there are different universes within the same multiverse. They still have to follow the same set of rules that the multiverse itself follows. In the comics, they have set up so many multiversal events, cataclysmic multiversal events, of multiverses slamming together, of these cosmic entities trying to basically destroy the entire multiverse. We don't see any remnants, any pieces, any parts of that showing up in the MCU. But on top of that, the rules of the multiverse are not the same between the movies and the comic books. One glaring example of this, the Infinity Stones. So, whether you agree or not, What If is part of the MCU and is part of the MCU's multiverse. So the people and everything in there exist within the greater MCU multiverse. What we see with the Infinity Stones is that Ultron gets them. He is able to use them in the multiverse, in multiple universes, destroying planets, destroying entire universes. He's using one set of Infinity Stones across the entire multiverse, and they have the power. In the comic books, this is not the case. In the comic books, a set of Infinity Stones are only powerful within the universe in which they are contained. In fact, there was a comic book arc where the Illuminati even took one or multiple of the Infinity Stones from their universe and kept them safely in another universe, so that they cannot be used. They're basically what they look like in the TVA, with being paperweights. So the multiverses between the comics and the movies do not share the same set of rules. Because they do not share the same set of rules, they have to be different multiverses. And there is a little bit of confusion if we want to talk about the movies 616 or the comics 616 and refer to them as Earth 616 in the comics. What do we refer to it as in the movies? Or are they going to start changing that nomenclature so that it's C616 for comics and M616 for movies? Or more likely, most of the movies in MCU are taking place in 616, so it's really just MCU and comics. You don't really even have to refer to that number. So between Eric Selvig discovering 616 is their universe and writing it down, that passing on to Mysterio and Quentin Beck, and them creating this backstory and starting to relay the fact that it is 616, to the Illuminati actually confirming that we are living with the heroes of the MCU in the main universe of 616, and that theirs is a separate one, and that the rules itself are different between the movies multiverse and the comics multiverse. It just shows that there is an omniverse out there, and the comics and the movies are multiverses parallel to each other. They could interact, and that Earth 199999, well, that might have been too many, 199999 is actually a MCU-like universe within the comics multiverse, where some of those similar things that happened to Tony Stark also happen to the Tony Stark in that Earth in the comic books. They're not the same place, they're not the same universe, but they have a lot of the same things, so those stories can continue very similarly. that is my theory and my discussion on Earth 616 versus Earth 1999999. So, Iman, Vellani, if you're out there, I disagree. I'm on Kevin Feige's side on this one. It is an omniverse, and we've got multiple 616s out there. Thank you for watching.